So that's right, No Man's Sky just got another big update coming in fresh with tons of much needed fixes and changes, including for some of the missing and floating base parts. That has also been addressed in this new patch among many other things. So we're gonna talk about that in this video, and as always, if you enjoy it at any point, it would be super awesome if you left a like on it. But Hello Games definitely seems to be aiming for more optimizations and improvements to how settlements and large bases behave, especially it seems on older gen hardware. So yeah, the PlayStation 5 is also getting some memory optimizations on top of that, but don't worry if you're playing on the newer gen, yeah, like PlayStation 5 and Xbox is also getting that as well. But for many of the people out there who were left with base parts floating around, they finally fixed the issue for that. So it seems that there was a bug that was causing some islands to disappear, which I guess was the reason why so many of you guys saw base parts missing or floating or other mission related buildings being underwater. That has been addressed with this new update, but as always, if you still encounter it, totally let me know down below in the comment section. Now for the settlement system, there was a neat little feature that was added in the previous update 3.67, which for some reason for me didn't work until this newer update. Maybe because I had an old settlement from the first time the Frontiers update came out, but essentially Hello Games added a countdown timer for the next event that will spawn in your settlement, which is pretty neat because now you can know exactly when the next event for your settlement should pop up, being a construction project, maybe a citizen's dispute, maybe some sort of other event. You will now have a visual indication and a timer for when that will happen. And generally speaking, I've noticed that the 1 hour timer is actually true. So if it tells you 1 hour, by the 1 hour mark, you're guaranteed to have one event spawning in your settlement. But at the same time, I've also noticed some strange scenarios when turning off either the computer or the game entirely and logging back in less than an hour, like usually 30 minutes, would already spawn another event for me, even though technically speaking the previous timer didn't yet complete. So I'm not complaining anyway, because this is like a win-win situation. You're getting events faster. I just wanted to let you guys know, especially if you just got a brand new settlement or changed recently. Also, speaking of settlements, they fixed an issue that could cause 2 NPCs to occupy the same chair, and they've improved the behavior of settlement NPCs so that they group up a lot more often and they will converse more often, which is really neat. They've also finally addressed the bug that caused some of the settlement buildings to be placed outside of the settlement limits for some reason. Like especially outside of the flattened area, you would sometimes notice some of these buildings clipping in certain terrain elements. So that has been addressed with a new update as well. Now there were a few more bugs in there with certain items that you would place that for some reason other players were able to interact with them or even delete them. One of them was the bug that allowed players to delete communication beacons. That has been addressed in this new update. Another one was for the issue that could cause or count other players' objects as your own for the purpose of planet object limits, like for example Exocraft Geobays. Yeah, normally these wouldn't cause such a big problem since they don't count too much to the base limit, but if a bunch of players come in and join your session or happen to be in your system and place them down, they could interfere with not just how much you can build, but also how much others can see of your base in case that limit is exceeded and like the entire base starts to glitch out. Like that can happen especially if your base becomes a community feature and is featured on the teleporter by Hello Games. But since we're still on the subject of bases, there's a few more issues that have been addressed with the new update. So they fixed the bug that caused multiple bases on the same planet to share screenshots when viewed on the teleporter page, which I guess is not a big deal, but it could be to some, especially if you like build something nice and want people to see exactly how it is. I'm also happy to report that they finally fixed the bug that prevented the ladders from working correctly when being placed inside cuboid rooms, and also the issue that prevented some corner pieces from snapping correctly, especially to building parts. And generally speaking, Hello Games has done tremendous improvements to the snapping behavior of a large amount of base parts that you will definitely notice in this new update. I was actually able to continue my progress with my mini city right here that I'm kind of in love with. This is of course something that I haven't released yet, but I'm having a ton of fun with some of these improvements, and it made like snapping together of some of these base parts way easier than ever before. And also some of the other issues have been addressed with the crash related stuff, in this new update as well, so let's go over that too. So they fixed the crash related to interactable objects, they fixed the crash related to base and settlement rendering, also a couple of crashes related to region decoration and to noise generation, and finally there's a fix to the Xbox specific crash that was affecting a number of players in the past few days. Now there are a number of changes for the expedition as well, and the first one is for the issue that could allow players to prematurely start the Space Anomaly story mission whilst on the expedition. And at first I was worried that this change would interfere with our freighter farming method in the expeditions. For some reason, when you start a first freighter battle, every single subsequent warp in a different system would also spawn a guarantee one, making it much easier to, well, just spam these battles and farm for your favorite freighter model. Now I'm not entirely sure why this only occurs during expedition save files. At first I thought that this would be related to the story missions, so I thought that this recent change would affect that, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And also some of you guys pointed out that previous expeditions also had the same exploit slash trick, so I'm inclined to believe that Hello Games, well, designed this by choice, and the reason why we're seeing this occurring in expeditions is maybe to just have us more easily find freighters in the first place. Also for the expeditions, they fixed the bug that could cause previous expedition save files to be reactivated as Cartographer Expedition saves. Anyway, wrapping things up, they fixed the issue that could cause some head elements to be visible when playing in the first person view. They fixed a rare issue that could cause the settlement missions to become blocked after changing your settlement. They've also removed a number of obsolete items from the catalog, and they fixed an issue that could cause the interaction with settlement technology merchant to become blocked if they were interacted with while outside of the marketplace. Also on the VR, there is one fix coming in, especially if you're using mods. So yeah, there was a soft lock issue that was appearing if you used mods on PC VR, so that was also addressed in this new update. But that is kinda it with the patch list. Of course, if you want to go ahead and check the rest out, I'm gonna leave some links down below. All in all, it seems pretty interesting that Hello Games is managing to push out all of these well, updates so fast, considering that they've been working on the Steam version of their other game, which is The Last Campfire. Obviously that is much smaller and, you know, not on the scale of No Man's Sky, but it kind of makes me wonder if Hello Games is working on something else behind the scenes. Maybe there's a reason why, well, Frontiers and the new expedition didn't feel as big as the previous ones. I could totally see them working on an even bigger update, or maybe, you know, just wrapping things up and like getting stuff ready for the next year. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.